My name is Chun. I have a feature in Sundance called Children of Invention. It's about two children who are left to fend for themselves when their mother's arrested for taking part in a illegal pyramid scheme. It takes place outside of Boston. This is my second time at Sundance. I was here with a short in '07 called Window Breaker. A lot of shorts that get turned into features are kind of like calling cards for features. Window Breaker wasn't ever planned to be a feature when I made it, so it was only until I think May of 2007 where I started thinking maybe I could develop a feature out of this. So about a year and a half.
So, Z, as you mentioned in the outset, you adapted your film from your short Window Breaker. Can you talk a bit about that and what prompted you to do that? Because I know you have multiple projects you're working on. What led you to do that? And then, again, kind of the practical things, like how did you do it? How did you get your team in place?
I feel like one of the developing the feature out of the short, it was out of a desire to just generate as much material as possible. With independent film, there's so you never know how long something's going to take. You never know whether a project's going to fall apart. So actually, the first script that I wrote after Sundance in '07 was based on my mother's life story back in Singapore in the '60s and '50s, and it got to about April or May, and I had sent out the script, and we had been getting some positive responses, but there was there didn't seem to be a plan to how I would get that movie made. It was kind of a more ambitious movie. It was it would be shot in multiple continents, and it was so I thought to myself, well, what can I write right now? And so I just started thinking about Window Breaker. I didn't really feel like the plot of Window Breaker, which is about a string of break-ins in a racially mixed town and the paranoia that ensues. It didn't feel like that could necessarily sustain a feature. And so the plot for this film is actually completely different, even though it has some of the same characters and shoots in some of the same locations. So I wrote, I came up with like a 4-page brainstorm, and then I got a TV writing job out in LA. And so I interviewed over the phone for the job on a Wednesday. They told us it was me and my writing partner. They told us that we had the job on a Friday, and Sunday we moved, and then Monday we were in the writer's room already. So it was basically like, it took a little bit of time for me to adjust and say, okay, well, maybe I should start writing my own stuff again, because it's in the TV writing room, the schedule is crazy. But unlike a lot of people from New York who moved to LA, I actually loved LA, but part of the reason was that I didn't have any friends there, so I could work all the time. So I would be in the writer's room from 10 to 7. Then I would go play an hour of skee ball over at the Santa Monica Pier, and then just sit on the Santa Monica Pier and just come up with other ideas. And around 11:30, then all the normal people have gone home, and it's time for the little kid with a laptop to leave the sketchy boardwalk, I think. When the writer's strike looked like it was going to happen, and this was I guess in November, I thought to myself, well, the probability is that the TV show is not coming back. So I said, well, I should write this feature and try to get it finished, so I can have two pieces of material. Two pieces of material is always better than one. So I wrote that all through the writer's strike. And March 1st, I sent the rough draft of the script to someone I had met at IFP, which is an independent feature project in New York. And if you guys don't know about this, you should definitely look it up. At IFP, they have 2 sections, No Borders and Emerging Narratives. And it's basically roundtable pitch sessions. It's a lot like Tribeca All Access, which Shireen and I were in 2007. So March 1st, I sent the script to my friend Dan, who I had met at IFP, trying to get a recommendation actually to try to get into the Sundance labs. And about 2 weeks later, he called and said, we've been looking for a narrative film it's a documentary film fund, but they were looking for a narrative film to do. And he said, well, I think I can get you money. And I said, well, do you think you could get us money to shoot so that we can apply for 2009 Sundance? And he said, yeah, sure, I'll talk to our investors. And then I sent the script to my friend Trevor, who also had a film fund. They split the cost of it, but it was very fast. I mean, March 1st was when I finished the first draft. I brought on Manette Louie, our producer, I think very beginning of April, and then we were shooting by July. We were editing while we were shooting, so July, August was the shoot and the edit, and we got a month extension for Sundance, which is for this year. So, you know, there's a lot of times where I talk to screenwriters who are, you know, this is going to be my first film, and they say, you know, I've written a script, this is going to be my first film, and I think it's important to think of it not as just this is your first film. This is one of hopefully many films that you'll make over the course of your lifetime, and you never know what your first film is going to be. It could be that you write your first screenplay, it could take 10 years to get produced, and then you could write something, it could get produced within a year. So the most important thing is just to, if you write a screenplay and you feel that there's enough of you in it that you can spend a good deal of your life trying to get it made, and that will propel you to make it. I mean, to not lose heart, I guess. But never lock yourselves in to just thinking that the first thing you write is the first thing that's going to get made, because that's almost never what happens.